Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another round of Mind Your Puckin' Business with your host, Jeffrey Huntsman.
Thank you, Dougie Sticks, as always, coming to you from the beautiful studios of Undefeated Media here in Bergen County, New Jersey. This is the Mind Your Pucking Business podcast, brought to you, of course, by our good friends, the Bamboozle Project, as well as DraftKings. Please go check out thebamboozleproject.com. Find all your early holiday shopping needs. And when you are looking to check out, make sure you use the promo code MYPB. Save yourself 20% off your total order across the entire platform. We thank DraftKings as well for their sponsorship. This is episode 175, 175. I'm going to say it again. Say 175. If you're utilizing the SAP features that are available to you today or whenever you are listening to us on replay, I guess, please utilize those SAP features if you're looking to listen to us in Spanish. I assure you, the Spanish you will hear in the translation will be far better than mine. You can send us your questions at any time to mypbshow@gmail.com. You can also DM us on the Instagram platform, and you can do that at Mind Your Pucking Business. And you can listen to the show live and watch it live, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, or you can stream it at your convenience on Spotify or iTunes. So we are a little bit late this morning, and I could see.
How does Nikolai already know?
I'm going there because Nikolai asked if you had any cavities.
How did he even know?
You know what? I don't know.
Words fast here at Undefeated Media.
Apparently, there might be paparazzi of you in the morning following you, the TMZ cars. But glad you're feeling better.
Tooth pulled.
There you go.
I had a situation on the other side. We had to quickly get the dentist rushed me in right before the show. We made it here.
All right. Well, we're good.
Yes.
Thank you for checking on Doug. He is good. Jeff Adelson, how are you watching from
Adelson
his studio down there in South Florida? So it is we're taping this episode on Wednesday morning, November 20th. And if you are a Ranger fan, which I'm going to take a guess if you're listening to us right now, you are. You probably, you might not have been, but if you were like me, you were up late last night watching the Rangers out west. The West Coast trip, and I put a thing up on our story yesterday. It's one of the least desirable weeks of the year. You almost prefer, it's not the first thing I look at when the NHL releases their schedules in early July, but I do eventually come around to thinking of the secondary things I want to know. And I always hope that when they're out west, it's not during the week. I can deal with it on a Friday. This Saturday, they have a 10 o'clock game in Edmonton. It's just when it's early in the week, it just sets you back. But for those who stayed up last night, congratulations. I was up with you. We'll get to that game in a minute. But let's talk about really where we left off since we were back on last on Wednesday. We were pretty hard, and we took some criticism for this, and I'm fine with it. Again, I'm always open to debate. I'm open for you guys to criticize us if you want. I'm totally fine with it. And we took some criticism because last week, I don't want to say I was that hard on Mika Zibanejad, but I was pretty open about the level of frustrations that I think other Ranger fans, including myself, had seen, because the night before, if you remember, it wasn't so much that Mika didn't score, he didn't have a certain amount of points. It was the mental mistakes that led to 3 goals the other way against Winnipeg. So Mika obviously does not listen to MYPB, but he does listen to some things, and he heard that people were not happy with him. And he actually came out, and I give him a lot of credit because it's the sort of thing as a player, he doesn't have to address it by any means. But when he was asked last Wednesday at practice at the practice facility in Tarrytown, New York, he came out and he said, quote, "I can bury myself in negativity and make it worse or try to learn from it," end quote. Which I thought honestly was super respectable, because he's not running from it. He's not denying that it's been an issue. He's actually saying, I'm going to try and tackle it head on. So I give him credit for that. Now, San Jose comes in last Thursday, and I'm guilty of this to an extent. I'm not fully guilty, but maybe a little bit, where you kind of come into that game. You've been through the Buffalo game the week before. You then were through the Detroit game that you only won because of Jonathan Quick, and then you lost to Winnipeg. And it's kind of like the sky is falling. All of a sudden now the Rangers are not playing well, and things are going backwards instead of forwards. And the San Jose comes out, gets the lead early in the game, and you don't what you don't like about that, and there's a theme, and we're going to get to this theme because we've talked about it, and again, it happened last night, was slow starts. Just like you wanted the Rangers to come out playing a team that's not great in San Jose, not been playing well, you're on home ice, expecting a pretty good start, and they didn't get it. Now, what they did get, ironically, because we all believe in Hollywood scripts and all those beautiful things, you get Mika Zibanejad scoring on a rebound that gets the game tied, and then they get 2 more quick goals after that from Jimmy Vesey and Vincent Trocheck to hold on and win that game by a total of 3-2. And Igor actually almost scored, almost had the empty netter on that, but they end up getting the win, and that puts them in a situation going west before they go play in Seattle on Sunday night, where it was similar, and I said this last week, where the Rangers last year, if you remember, it was actually at the end of October. They had just lost a terrible game at home to Nashville. As a matter of fact, I helped broadcast that game on the Hockey Podcast Network in Canada. It was brutal because the game was terrible to watch. In any event, they went out west last year, 5-0 road trip, and kind of found their groove and found their footing there. So you kind of were thinking, hey, maybe there's some synergy. Maybe we could get a repeat of history and get a similar situation here where the Rangers go west and kind of get it all together at a time where they need it. So Sunday night's game in Seattle, look, it wasn't perfect. Again, Jonathan Quick with another shutout, which we'll get to in a minute. I don't think it was perfect. Some people were sending DMs on Monday thinking it was the best game they've played all year. I would not agree with that at all. But I do think comparatively to what they had been showing you, the brand of hockey they had been playing in the last 2 weeks, it was definitely a step in the right direction. Now, again, we need to mention Jonathan Quick, who had another shutout the other night. He is, when I say these stats, it's almost like I had to go back and double check. Normally, if someone posts stats, I won't cross-reference and check them, which is stupid, right? But when I saw this, I was like, this can't be right. And I went back and checked, and it is right. Jonathan Quick this season. Now, I hope you're sitting down for this. He's 4-0, which you know. His goals against is 0.91 and has a .970 save percentage. That's just unreal. Now, it won't continue. He's not going to be undefeated all year. He's not going to end with as we broadcast the show from Undefeated Media, he's not going to have a goals against average under 1. But, I mean, again, the value of a guy, and it's similar to last year, right? Igor not playing well at certain parts of the year. Right now, he's not playing great. He's not playing terrible either. And Jonathan Quick is able to stand in, let Igor get rest, because you want him to be able to be used late into June if all goes according to plan. And not only can he play and give your goalie rest, he's undefeated. He's letting up less than a goal per game. I watch these games, and I'm just shocked at some of these saves. And as Michael is saying, thank you for pulling it up, he's been worth every penny so far. I don't know that if it confirms New York is better than LA, but he's been worth absolutely every single thing that he is getting paid. And again, the value there to give Igor Shesterkin nights off and not take a step back in terms of your team winning is super critical. It was good on Sunday night, and I'll say it, not that I would normally say it, but I'll say it because I know you guys were complaining to me that, I don't love Zach Jones. It was good to see Zach Jones score on Sunday night. The Rangers were up 1-0 going into the third on a Lafreniere goal, and Zach Jones added some insurance on a nice wrister, actually from a crazy angle, too, that went in. So last night they go into Vancouver. This is a Vancouver team that is not 100%. Earlier in the day, it came out that JT Miller was leaving the team for personal reasons, which I hope everything is okay. JT Miller, of course, the name. He is an ex-Ranger. So JT Miller is out of the lineup. Brock Besser is out of the lineup. And you also last night got a little lucky on paper that they played the backup goalie in Artur Silovs. I think I pronounced that right. It was being pronounced in the game a couple different ways, so I didn't even know which one was right. But anyway, last night, again, staying consistent here. I don't understand what is going on with the bad starts. Quinn Hughes scores about 2 minutes into the game. This is the exact same script that we have seen for a couple weeks. I don't know where to pinpoint that. I don't think it's a Peter Laviolette thing, not having the team ready to play. I mean, these are professional athletes. When the puck drops, they know they've got to play. But it's got to be something you look at because it's becoming now more of a consistent trend than it is just a random occurrence. And I don't know. It's just bizarre. So Quinn Hughes scores 1-0. Mika deflection, again, getting Mika going. It certainly looks like he's now kind of stopped the sky is falling mentality and has gotten his game or starting to find his game on a nice deflection underneath a Keandre Miller wrist shot from the point. Will Cooley breakaway to give the Rangers a 2-1 lead. I'm going to throw a trivia question out there real quick for those of you watching on Instagram as well as YouTube. And if you know the answer, put it in the chat because I did not know the answer, but let's see if you guys do. This year so far, Artemi Panarin leads the team in 5-on-5 points, which is an important stat because we know how this team does not play well 5-on-5, and 5-on-5 has been great. Okay. Artemi Panarin is number 1 on the New York Rangers in 5-on-5 points this season. Someone on the team is tied with him. Who is that person?
I think I might know.
Okay, I don't want to. I'll see if somebody can answer it. We'll see. We'll come back to it. Beyond that, last night it's good to see Kappo Kakko get on the board. I want to point out now. I'm not. I want to say, and the guesses so far are wrong. Actually, I want to say one thing on the Kakko goal, and it's not. It's just a hockey 101 thing. And I see Rangers Ed is watching, so if it's Coach Ed, which is probably not, he will appreciate this. This is a textbook goal that Kappo Kakko scores. He did something that you teach kids when they play hockey to do. What?
You're already taking credit away from him. Like, you should have made that goal. A kid baby could make that goal.
I'm not at all doing that.
Okay, all right.
What I am saying is I want to illustrate what Kakko did yesterday, which is something that I do when I play. And again, I play in beer league. I never do this, right? So what Kappo Kakko does on this goal, not only does he go to the net, but if you watch the goal today, and it's all, you can find it on Instagram. It's not the world's most beautiful goal, but if you watch how he has his stick is down on the ice, because his stick is down, not up in the air, not up or, elevated, he has the split second before that Vancouver defender is in front of him to get to the puck, and he does, and he knocks it in. So it's important to understand you always have your stick down. The answer to the trivia question, some of you are getting it now, is Will Cooley. But there were some good guesses in there. Kakko, Lafreniere. I've seen some other guesses. Hedel. It is not. So Will Cooley, it needs to be spoken about because here's a guy that has taken, look, it's not, I used the word quantum leap when I used Lafreniere last year. We're not there yet. But he has had a progression strong enough, obviously, that he is now tied for the lead on the team on 5-on-5 points. And remember, he's not playing on one of the top 2 lines. So Will Cooley has been great, absolutely great. Then they hold on. So, Vancouver comes back to tie the game. Another sign that Mika is back. The goal, let's talk for a minute about this goal that Chris Kreider scored last night to basically win the game in the third period. This whole play is set up because Mika Zibanejad, who we got on last week for mental lapses, makes a brilliant mental play, lifts the stick of the Vancouver defender on the blue line, takes the puck, causes the turnover, leads to the Kreider goal off some beautiful passing between that hold line, actually, Kreider, Smith, and Zibanejad. Riley Smith, I said it last week. I'm going to say it again because I think it's even more true now. Riley Smith has been very good. Riley Smith is a signing that, again, we're not going to judge free agency signings on November 20th. That would be pretty stupid to do. But if that's the only sample size we have, then I do think that you have to like what you're seeing from Riley Smith. And that line has been good as well. So that is a very good 4-3 road win to go 2-0 on the road trip. And before you even look now, if you take the 2 road games plus the game in San Jose, they've now won 3 in a row to improve their record to 12-4-1. Now, I have been vocal about this, that I don't really think the Rangers are playing that great. They haven't been to date, but at 12-4-1, I can't sit here and press the panic button. They'll work on the areas that need to improve. Tomorrow night, they go to Calgary, and Calgary started out this year 4-0. They've come back to earth a little bit. They haven't been terrible, but they've come back down from the high pedestal they were on. They will be a challenge. Calgary is an interesting building to play in. It's not the easiest building to play in. And then they will finish up the Western road trip on Saturday night at 10 o'clock against Edmonton and Connor McDavid.
And you're right in the mix here. So, you got the Capitals 27, Hurricanes 26, Devils 26, and they've all played more games than we have. And we have 25 points on the record this year.
Okay.
12-4. Devils are 12-7.
The
Hurricanes
Devils have
13-4. Capitals are
the Devils
13-4.
do have a ton of games that they've played. I don't know why with the schedule the Devils have played so much more games, many more games than everyone else. It doesn't really matter. Obviously, in the end, you all play 82, but you can't really. You have to keep that in mind when you look at it. The Edmonton game. Now, talking about late games, Saturday night, Edmonton at 10. Now, actually, I have to be awake because we have an event to go to. Jenny from the block and I on Saturday night, but. The Saturday night late games are tolerable. Like, I can deal with it. I don't like it. I'd still rather be at 7. It's just the Tuesday. And tomorrow night actually is a 9 o'clock start. A little bit better in Calgary.
Slightly better.
Yeah. So it should be over 11:30. Yeah. It's different than last night, 12:30.
True.
Yeah.
Which I was watching every second of it. It almost, it was a nail biter at the end.
I don't know if it's me. I'm sure this is not true. But I like in the third period when you had like the standard commercial breaks, I was thinking, I'm like, is it me or are there just more commercials than usual? And I'm sure there were not, but it's just because like I wanted the game to be over and I wanted to go to sleep that I did that. All right. So yesterday we opened up our Instagram story for you guys again. We haven't done it in a while for your questions, and we will take some of your questions. I selected a bunch of them. What I tried to do and what I always try and do is if there's questions that have similar themes to it, condense it into one so we can get as many of your questions on. And I apologize. We obviously did not bring them. We don't have time to do them all, but the ones that I picked, I did put your screen name with it. So if I pronounce your name or whatever wrong, then I apologize. We see how I do the Spanish in the beginning of every show. So, all right, let's take Alvin's question, which is, do you agree that the first line has a little bit of a confidence issue? I would agree with that, but I do think it is trending in the right direction. I think last night, the best answer of that was the game-winning goal. If you saw the passing between Zibanejad, Kreider, and Smith back to Kreider for the winner, I think that they are getting a little more confident in themselves. A second question from Alvin. I took two from you, Alvin, and that is, how come nobody is talking about that Trocheck has been a little bit of a slumping this year? Obviously not at a Mika level, but it's not being talked about. I did talk about it 2 weeks ago. Trocheck is still putting up points. I think Trocheck played so well. I think part of it is, and I thought about this 2 weeks ago because I wasn't sure if I wanted to bring it up, and I did. And my logic was this. I think what we remember of Trocheck was that he was so good in the playoffs, like Game 2 double overtime winner against Carolina, that your last memories of him are so high that he's not performing at that level, and he shouldn't be. That I think we're looking at him slumping, but I think he's doing okay for what he is. And I would expect him to be a playoff performer in the spring. MT Hannigan, how do you feel about Sam Carrick? I think Sam Carrick has been fine. I think you also, if I'm going to answer that question accurately, I think I need to look at it also from a business side of view and say I am getting Sam Carrick to free up cap room that was spent in that position for Barclay Goodrow. And I think when you think of the fact that I have a poor man's Barclay Goodrow doing almost the same thing, I think Goodrow only had a handful of goals during the regular season. He really exploded in the playoffs. I think you have to be okay with it, knowing that you're taking the money that you're saving and using it elsewhere. So, Hex Lexington, do you think Lindgren is gone at the deadline? I would say it is a possibility. I would say I would be shocked that if Lindgren is back here next year. Here's why I don't know that he'll be gone at the deadline. If Ryan Lindgren leaves at the deadline, the organization right now then has to commit with the way the roster is to being comfortable with both Zach Jones and Mancini the rest of the way in the playoffs. And I don't think they will do that unless you're bringing in some other defenseman. If you subtract Lindgren from the roster and don't add another defenseman, then I don't think he's gone at the deadline because, again, you're now committing to Jones and Mancini as your playoff people. And I'm not sure they're ready to do that. I'm going to take, before we get to some more of your questions, let's take some of the Instagram feedback. Walker Bradshaw, John Gianone's interview with Mika felt a little awkward. He called out his confidence, and Mika seemed bothered by it. Obviously, he's going through it right now, but it felt harsh. Yeah, I don't know, Walker, if you were here in the beginning of the show, when I read Mika's quote, Mika does seem like he's open to talking about it. I don't know that it was Gianone's place to say that. But I do think the last 3 games, he has looked a lot better. Hopefully it gets him going. Nikolai, the empanada man from South Carolina, who's sent the empanada recommendation, and I probably pronounced that wrong word, and I'm sure I'm going to hear it now in the comments. What is your confidence in this team without 31 and 32? So if this team didn't have the starting goalie tandem of Igor and Jonathan Quick, would you be confident in this team? It would be a lot less. I'm not sure if you had the way the roster is constructed now, right? They're so reliant on their goalies. Let's just admit it. It's not maybe what you want, but that is the truth. If you took them out and you had let's say you had an average goalie. Let's say you had, I'll use Markstrom from the Devils to get B-Rock into it. If I had,
guy's just average.
if I had Markstrom, if I had, I'll even throw like Olmark in Ottawa on the mix. I don't know that the team is that good. I mean, you're so goalie reliant. So to answer that question, Nikolai, I don't think my confidence is that high.
Do you think before you go on the next one, talking about goalies and Jonathan Quick before, is Jonathan Quick a starter on some of these other teams, or is he?
Oh yeah, he would. Well, the way he's playing right now, yes, and that's a great lead-in because to an Instagram live question from Scooby Doozy, will Jonathan Quick be back next season? It may be too early to know. You'd have to think at this point he is. Well, they'd have to re-sign him, but I don't know why the Rangers wouldn't be open to re-signing him. The only thing, and you have to unfortunately think about this when you answer that question, is what would happen if Igor doesn't come back? What would happen if Igor signed elsewhere? Now, you still should be signing Quick, but I need to know what's going on with Igor, obviously, to answer any goalie-related question. And if Igor is back, which I still think he will be, then yes, Jonathan Quick seems very, very happy here.
And I'm not even going to say it. But if in the case of the thing that I'm not going to say would to happen, you would be okay with Jonathan Quick stepping up
to being the number one?
If what I'm going with,
no, if Igor was, if Igor
I don't
was not
say
back,
it. I'm not saying it.
No, I would not. Because Jonathan Quick is 38. I think he'll be 39 next year.
It would be a long-term play. But
no,
Band-Aid.
No.
Wow. No. Even how he's playing right now.
I wouldn't do that. No, I wouldn't. I'd be fine with him to be a Band-Aid for whatever your other option is, but I would not be him being the number one. You know, there were some people, and I don't like to call people out. I don't remember who you were either. There were a couple people on Monday that were sending DMs.
Quick number one.
Quick is number one. Quick should be your starting goalie. I mean, and I'm nice. Like a lot of you guys interact with me all day long. I mean, I'm very grateful that you guys give us the platform to interact with you. And I never say anything like negative about people. And I didn't on Monday, but I was just like, no, I think I was very I kept it very general. Like, no, I'm pretty sure Igor's still going to be the number one. I'm sure. So, Tommy Gringus will take a live question from Instagram. What are your thoughts on Will Cooley? I think you probably just came in. I talked about it a couple minutes ago. He's been phenomenal. He is now tied for the lead in team points on 5-on-5 play. He's doing that from a third line role too. He's been excellent, and his goal last night was beautiful. He does have a good release. I think they talked about it on the podcast. This is what happens when these late games on the NHL podcast on the broadcast last night about his release point, or maybe it was the Vancouver feed with Ray Ferraro was doing the broadcast. I don't know if he was on TSN something. They were talking about Will Cooley's release. That I do remember seeing last night. And Scooby Doozy, I would agree with you. Quick cannot handle the starter workload at his age. He's most effective when his playing time is perfectly managed. So that is correct. All right, back to some of your questions. BK Built 718. What do you do with Miller? Do you keep him or continue to develop him? You know how you can tell if a kid, if a player
Miller's been around for a while.
If you know a player has a problem, you know what like a barometer of it to me is? If my two children at home keep mentioning it, my kids keep mentioning it to me about K'Andre Miller. Like, Dad, has he been bad again?
Why is he so bad, Daddy?
Is the turnovers bad again? I don't think that I don't think the organization will give up on him. And I see Coffee Sports Collectibles agreeing with me on Instagram. I think they would be reluctant to give up on him. I do think K'Andre, plenty of times in his career, his young career, has shown flashes of what he can be. He came here from the University of Wisconsin. He was a great player in college hockey. To let up on a young defenseman is hard to do because remember what we just talked about a minute ago. Well, if you got rid of Lindgren, you're then relying on young defensemen and you need someone else. So now you're going to get rid of Miller too. Like, I think they're going to work to develop him. Now, does he need to get better with puck possession? Yes. Does he need to get infinitely better with some of these turnovers this year? Yes. Like, I can go back to opening night. I believe it was the second period against Utah, and he just had like a dumb dump off the board play to someone else in the defensive end that led to a Utah goal. Like, he's been bad. I will say that, but I don't think that they're going to get rid of him. A very good question from Joe_TS_writing_corner. So I'm not saying that again. That was all I'm going to say with that. Is there as good of a chance? And this is a very good question. This is why I took this one, because I remember looking at this last night. So is there as good of a chance that the Rangers would make a cup run if they end up as a wild card as they do in a different spot? I know it's early, but I wanted to ask it. So I have always said, I said it last year, I said it 2 years ago when they lost to the Devils in the first round, and I probably, if you go back and roll the tape, said it when they had the year where they lost to Tampa in the Eastern Conference Final. I'm not someone that goes crazy about where they finished. They need to get in. I was not last year, and Chris, who's watching, is going to be mad at me for saying this because we disagree. I was not huge on winning the President's Trophy. I didn't really care that much. If they could get it, great. Would I rather Game 7 be in the Garden? Yes, but they're not always the best team at home. Again, this year they're better on the road. So could they make as good of a run as the wild card? The answer is yes. The key, though, here, and I'm not this is not brain surgery stuff here. The key is whether you are a wild card or you are a division winner or you are second in your division, whatever it may be. The key is always, how is the team playing as you are going into the playoffs in April? And more importantly, how is your goaltender Igor Shesterkin playing? Because if Igor Shesterkin isn't playing well, I don't care if you're a wild card or you're not a wild card, you ain't going far. And the opposite is true. If Igor Shesterkin is playing like he did for a lot of the playoffs last year, you can win the whole thing as a wild card easily. Remember, Florida, if I got in, so Florida won the Cup last year, as all Ranger fans remember. They lost in the Cup the year before to Vegas. Florida got in the playoffs on the last day of the season, and it eliminated Pittsburgh. There was some meaningless thing, like Florida should have never even been in, and they got in on the last day as the wild card and went to the Stanley Cup final. So you can absolutely have as good of an opportunity as a wild card. I don't get into the home ice stuff. I care more about, I'll be honest, I care more about the home ice stuff as a season ticket holder, knowing when the days and the games are, than I do rather than like the team needs home ice, they need to win. Now I look at it more from like ticket reasons, because I don't think it matters to the team. And they've proven year after year they can play on the road, especially in the playoffs, right? They won 2 in Washington, they won 2 in Carolina, they won 1 in Florida. The year before, they won the first 2 in New Jersey. The year before, they had their backs against the wall in Pittsburgh, that Friday night Game 6 that they had to win. They won that. They won in Carolina that following series, Game 7. So the team can win on the road. So tomorrow night in Calgary, 9:00. And then Saturday night conclude the trip out west at Edmonton, and then they return home. It's kind of a weird schedule. Then they return home for only 1 game against St. Louis. And if you're sitting there saying to yourself, man, the Rangers are not really playing people in their division, buckle up, because then next week they will go in Carolina next Wednesday, the night before Thanksgiving. I am going on Friday in Philadelphia. Wow. We're bringing the kids again. We'll be there so it's another Metro game. The following day, Thanksgiving weekend, which will be a good Original Six matchup in the afternoon against the Canadians, which is not an easy ticket to get, by the way, if you're trying to go to that game. And then they're home 2 nights later versus the Devils. So once we get to next Wednesday, 3 of the next 4 games are Metro Division. And the Metro Division, as we have said, again, not saying anything people don't know, has been excellent. So
neck and neck.
So we'll pull up Chris's comment. Guaranteed, a guarantee of home is great, but the stupid playoff structure is the problem. New York Rangers had the best record in the regular season, and the second round opponent had the 3rd best record in the NHL. Yeah. So the NHL shifted basically what Chris is getting at. It used to be it was 1 through 8 in the entire Eastern Conference. And then a couple years ago, I want to say it's probably been 6 or 7 years now, they switched to this division play where it's the top 3 from the 2 divisions within the conference, and then the top 2 point totals get the wild card beyond that. What it's done, and I don't know that if NHL ever gave an answer why they did this, I'm assuming it is probably because they want more of the divisional rivalries. Like they want the Rangers and the Devils in the first round. They want that. Doesn't mean it's the
Same
best.
amount of teams though.
Yeah, but I and Coffee Sports Collectibles on Instagram was agreeing. They would like to go back to the old format, which is 1 through 8, and I would too. I would much prefer that. So let's pull up Jeff Adelson's comment. This is not like the New York Rangers of old when it was Mark Messier and Wayne Gretzky. That is true.
It's true.
Very true. If those two players could come back, I'd feel a lot more comfortable. I saw a comment, or I was going to post it on our story, and I didn't because the language was a little bit not great. I still might post it one day. There is an Instagram clip of Wayne Gretzky the other day when he was on the Rangers trash talking someone. He was on the bench playing against someone. And again, I didn't post it because the language involved, but it was great. I mean, if you can go find that, or how about this? If you really want to see it, I have it somewhere. I'll DM it to you. That way,
special group, our special chat group.
Yeah, special chat group.
So how old is Wayne Gretzky right now?
Wayne Gretzky has got to be mid-50s.
So how we have like LeBron still playing and Aaron Rodgers is still playing. Maybe not Wayne Gretzky of today, but how many years back from today would it be acceptable for you to be like, you know what? Let's get Wayne. We're getting Wayne.
A while, 15 years. I mean, you can't play
15 years back from today.
If he was 40, so if I'm right, you can do a Google search. You can tell me if I'm right.
63.
Oh,
1961. So he's 63 years old. Mike Tyson just fought. He was like 58.
I feel old. So he's 63.
63.
He's 23. So he retired in 98 because I remember I was watching his retirement game at my ex-girlfriend's house. They had a family party and they played on like a Sunday afternoon. And
so he was probably like what, 38?
Well, no, that was not that. 98 was 26
years.
26 years because I have my class of 98 high school reunion next week. 26 years, right? I'm not going, by the way, but that's the point. So if you take back 26 from 63,
no. 26 year anniversary, but like that's from 98 to today.
Yeah. How old is he?
No, how old is he when he retired?
That's what I'm at.
Oh,
listen, take 63.
I can't do math.
And minus 26.
Was Wayne?
Oh my God. B-Rock, are you watching
he
this?
Retired. He was about 38 years old.
37 or 38, correct.
So he's in that
range.
So
even then.
So he's 63 now. He retired at 38.
He should have retired.
If he was going to dust the skates off, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want him at 63. What would be the oldest age you would accept Wayne Gretzky on your team?
Scooby's, you know what? Scooby Doozy's correct me. He was 99. It was. So I was at my ex-girlfriend's house, and I just finished my freshman year of college. I thought it was 98. He's 99. That's absolutely correct. He retired against Pittsburgh on a Sunday afternoon game where the Rangers were totally eliminated and not playing for anything. And then he announced he was going to retire. And a great story about that game that I always remember. Wayne Gretzky, when he was a kid, obviously, like everyone, played youth hockey, couldn't drive himself to games. He was, 5 years old, 10 years old, whatever. So his dad used to drive him to games where he grew up in Canada.
Yeah.
For the last game that he ever played that Sunday, he had his dad pick him up and drive him to that game. Cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's kind of cool thing I always remember about that game. So
63. You don't want him at 63. You would accept him at 40?
No. He was done at 37. No.
He was done at 38.
Doug, if I wouldn't accept him at 40, why would I accept him at 45? He's not getting better by the age. He's not aging like a fine wine.
So you're saying he couldn't be better than your third line at 45?
No.
The best player in hockey wouldn't make the third line at 40?
All right.
If Tyson just fought it.
People can put in the comments. Would you take Wayne Gretzky? Again, he retired at 38.
He retired. So you wouldn't have him on the team at 45 years old on the bench?
No.
Talking to the team, getting people riled up.
You want him to coach? That's a different thing.
No,
do I want
coach
him to
coach with the jersey on?
Now, he didn't have a good coaching career. It was very brief. He coached in Arizona.
One more point, maybe he's the jersey on.
I don't know if his coaching career was longer than Barry Melrose and
when he left at 38.
Yeah,
was he on top of his game, or he should retire?
No, he should retire.
He should have should have retired at 38.
Yes. Right. And Jeff Adelson with a nice shout out because I'm wearing the shirt today, so we'll pull it up. Shout out to Jeff's uncle, Sam Rosen, who's retiring after the season from the MSG Network after 40 long years as the announcer. And I'm wearing today, thank you, Jeff Adelson, the Win It for Sam shirt. You know, when I wear this to Ranger games this year, because I won't do it in Philly, but I'll probably wear a regular jersey. But I've been wearing this to the games I go to literally every game. Where'd you get the shirt? Where'd you get the shirt? And I'll be like, real quick, I'll be like, yo, I got a promo code for you.
There you
Go
go.
to this website, type in MYPB, and they've been getting it. So
you can get yours at thebamboozleproject.com.
That is
Use
true.
promo code MYPB.
We could thank Jeff Adelson for that. And Jeff Adelson, as you know, if you watch, has his own show from his studios down there in South Florida. All right, shifting gears now to football before we wrap it up for the week. Before we talk about the picks or anything, I want to be careful how I say this.
It's like
I don't want to. I don't want to get. No, it's nothing to do with the picks. I don't want to get in trouble. And what I originally said a couple years ago was not anything bad, and I stand by that. When Daniel Jones was drafted, okay, I made a comment. I don't remember what episode it's on or whatever, but I will tell you what I said. I said that it was a bad pick, and my reasoning was different than other people. And all I said was that it's good athletes that come out of Duke do not play football. They play basketball. Right? And Michael is saying, bring out the cutlets, which is where we're going. Now, that was not meant in a racial term at all.
Whoa.
Which is what some people said, because I could name, hold on. No, let me finish. I could name Christian Leitner.
Yeah.
I could name Bobby Hurley, or Danny Hurley, who's at, right? Or these people that played at Duke, right? Daniel Jones.
Duke lacrosse. They're known for lacrosse. They're known for basketball.
Which you would know because you are lacrosse.
What else, Brian? What is Duke known for? Soccer? No.
And well, they're also really known for their academics. So obviously, I'm not one to talk about that. But the Daniel Jones thing, like, I'm just happy that it's over and I don't have to hear about it anymore. This guy, there was someone did something online, and I don't know if it's right because I didn't cross-reference it, but I believe he made now, because he's not obviously going to get another contract, but he's going to get like a total of $80 million from the team.
He gets 22, whether he plays or not, or is injured. He gets guaranteed $22 million for the next 2 years, I believe.
Which
is hilarious because we didn't even want to give Saquon.
As Jeff is saying, and he's right, let him just say this: Daniel Jones is not Eli Manning. That is correct. He is not anywhere near
this whole program. And you can correct me if I'm wrong out there, because we got the comment section is blowing up right now. This whole Giants program has gone to shit once they got rid of Tom Coughlin. Once they got rid of Tom Coughlin, they brought in, I forgot what his name is, and then he wanted to sit down Eli, canceling off the Iron Man streak. McAdoo canceling the Iron Man streak, and then they brought in Danny Dimes because Danny Jones was training with who Eli trained with in college or whatever. But you said it great. A great way to say it. I don't know. I don't remember how many times I see Duke on TV playing college football games of Duke, right? So like he's probably not playing top-notch competition. He was a first-round draft pick. You're going to tell me there's like 10 other teams in like the Big Ten or whatever the top-notch programs are that we couldn't draft?
There's a video of when the Giants, I guess that Thursday night when they drafted Daniel Jones, there's a video. I guess the Giants were holding, I don't know if they share it with the Jets or they were just doing it. They did a party for their season ticket holders during the draft, and they had the jumbotron
both there.
They both are there.
It's like half and half. The field split in half. I was there.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Yeah, it's half and half, and there's a big party.
I had never seen it to this week. When they draft, and it comes on, what's his name? Roger Goodell comes on, with the 7th pick, the Giants. But
the whole place went silent.
The whole place is either, well, it's not silent, it's just booze. And if you listen closely, right, because normally when you make a bad pick, like we'll use a Ranger term, Vitaly Kravtsov at number 9 in 2019, like normally there's somebody, maybe a minority or some buddies that are for the pick that are cheering it. There's nothing. So, and as Michael brings up a good point, which is the third comment up, which is best case is that we are competitive but lose. If you want to pull that up,
best case.
Yeah, there you go. Because now you don't want to win. So,
well, yeah. So all right. Now let's say this. Let me ask the people out there. Let's say Tommy DeVito shines and plays well, is he gonna be our Brock Purdy? So we don't have to waste a draft pick on a quarterback, or are we just dead set on resetting everything and getting a new quarterback? Say Tommy DeVito rips
Tommy
it up.
DeVito's not the answer.
He played well in the time he's played.
I don't need to hear
He's a local hero.
But you don't care. Who cares? Who
If he
cares if
plays
his
well?
mom makes good chicken cutlets? Hey, you want your quarterback to win.
You need the kids to be you need the team to have the proper nutrition
Okay.
to perform well during the game. You need protein, Jeff. You need protein.
Thank you. All right. Speaking of protein, our picks could use some protein last week because we were 6-3-1 going into it. We had been on a roll, and this is the way it works in sports betting.
Mm-hmm.
We were close to having a really good week, and you're going to see we had a couple games that we lost that were so close, and we would have had a winning week, but instead we finished 2-3.
Sounds like the Jets season.
We had the Colts +4 at the Jets. That was an easy one. They ended up winning the game outright. We had the Saints -1. That was the one I loved too. I even said it. The Saints -1 at home versus the Browns. They blew them out. It wasn't even close. Then we got hosed on the Pats +5 at home versus the Rams. They were up in the game, the Pats, and then they came back and they lost by 6. We had them +5. We had the Chiefs +2.5 at the Bills. We lost that. And the Bengals +1.5 at the Chargers. That game was a blowout. The Bengals came all the way back and then lost and didn't cover. So we were close. We finished 2-3 on the week. So we moved our record now on the season to 6-4-1 through 11 weeks. Here, yes.
Before you go, I'm not trying to put too much pressure on you. This week looks like a cakewalk.
For picks?
For picks, yeah. Go
With
ahead.
points?
Go ahead.
All right, hold on. I'm going to do my picks. I'm going to put you on the spot. So while I'm doing this, I want you to pick out 3 games.
I can do it right. I'll go right down.
Okay. No, let me go, and then I'll let you go.
Okay.
We could do a little head-to-head this week because you sound so super. Okay, hold on. All right. I'm going to put it down on our picks. But anyway, here are my week 12 picks. I like the Giants +5.5 at home versus Tampa. Tampa's not great. The Giants are getting a ton of points. They're at home. There's going to be some emotion in the building because the chicken cutlet guy is back. I'll take the Giants +5.5. It's a lot of points. I like the Patriots +7 at the Dolphins. Normally, if you follow that rivalry, if you want to call it that, their games are pretty close. The Dolphins are so Jekyll and Hyde. 7 points is a full touchdown. Give me the Patriots +7. Also here, Dallas, same mindset. Rivals with the Commanders. Dallas is getting 10.5. That is a touchdown and a field goal and half a point. At Washington, I know Dallas isn't good, but that is a lot of points in a rivalry game. I'm taking Dallas +10.5 at Washington. I'm taking the Raiders +5.5 at home versus Denver. Denver with a good win last week, but Denver has been very bad on the road in some games this year. Look when they played in Baltimore. Look when they played in Tampa. The Raiders getting 5.5 at home. I'm taking the Raiders. Lastly, I don't like this pick, but I'm going to do it. I think the Eagles are just starting to really find their groove, and I don't think the Rams are very good. The Sunday night game, I'm taking the Eagles -2.5 at the Rams. So to recap, I'm taking the Giants +5.5 at home versus Tampa, the Patriots +7 at the Dolphins, Dallas +10.5 at Washington, Raiders +5.5 at home versus Denver, and lastly, the Sunday night game, the Eagles -2.5 at the Rams. And now, how many games do you want to pick?
I mean, you just picked 5.
Yeah, you want to pick
one or two of them overlap, but I'll go down the line.
Well, hold on a sec. Did we match on the game? Don't tell me if the pick is right.
Yeah, Eagles.
Okay,
you said Eagles.
Would you have taken the Eagles -2.5?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So hold on. I'm putting a little asterisk because we're going to go back to this next week. Okay.
You talked about the Eagles.
All right. So you and I are in agreement.
Let me go back to the top. Pittsburgh, easy. Pittsburgh's on a roll right now.
That's the Thursday night game in Cleveland. Yes. What are they, -3.5?
-3.5.
Okay.
They're
so
gonna put a weapon on the Browns.
Okay, go ahead.
The Detroit Lions just went 49 to like nothing on who were on the.
They're at Indy. What are they?
Jacksonville last week.
Minus
They're
what?
going to Indy -7.5. I think they'll beat the Colts by more than 7 points.
Next.
I wouldn't. I know the Chiefs are going to destroy the Panthers, but I don't think I would touch the 11 points. So I skip. I don't
okay. No.
Game.
You're not picking. I want you. You've already picked
now
3 games.
I picked 3 games. Good.
You need 2 more and a cakewalk.
I wouldn't touch the Giant game, and I wouldn't choose the Giants, so I'm skipping that one.
Okay.
Where was it? Where is it?
By the way, while you're thinking, I love the fact that in the chat, Chris and Rangers Ed are talking about Coach Ed and his love for Vitaly Krasov. It is literally one of my favorite things to talk about. But go ahead.
Eagles, 2 points against the Rams.
You took that one already.
That's my.
That's your.
I did Pittsburgh.
Right. Detroit.
Lions.
Right. And you did the Eagles.
I did the Eagles.
Okay. So you can keep it at 3. No, you don't have to do.
We can go 5
time
and 5.
No. Hold on. I only want you to pick games that you think are just a dead giveaway cakewalks, as you said. I'm not asking you to pick 5. If there's only one cakewalk,
those three are the
stick with those
cake,
3.
those
There,
are the
done,
cakewalk.
done, no more. So now next week, do the Eagles cover because they were in agreement there.
Yes.
But you took 2 games that I didn't touch.
Yeah.
So
why didn't you touch those games? So let's play that.
Why
game.
didn't I touch that game? Because
Pittsburgh Steelers are on a roll right now.
Because Pittsburgh
Stinks.
is playing well. However, a rivalry game, it's not a lot of points in Cleveland's home. I'm just giving you why. I'm not that far off of disagreeing with you. I like the Detroit because I think they're far and away better. But it's a lot of points to be a favorite on the road. And Indy wasn't that bad last week, and they're home. So that's
Okay.
the only reason why I didn't touch it,
Okay.
to answer your question.
All right.
So we'll see if you're right. Rangers road trip predictions, Mike Keandra 21. Well, they're 2-0. I'm going to say they probably finish 3-1, which you will take. Maybe I get a little bit like daring and say 3-1-1. Maybe there's an overtime. I'm sorry, 3-0-1. Maybe there's an overtime loss in there somewhere. And they get a point. Sal, Pink Leonardo, you owe Kappo Kakko an apology. Kappo Kakko has been a lot better. There's been plenty of times, and I don't want to poke the lion with Chris who's watching when my whole clip when I said it was going to be the year of Kappo Kakko last year. There's been plenty of times where I've been on Kappo Kakko train. I've never been driving the train. Jeff Adelson, very happy that you.
I would jump on that train too. I would pick the Dolphins -7.
Yes.
To the Patriots. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now,
Brian,
Jeff Adelson,
Brian, what do you think? Brian's a Patriot fan. Do you think? Exactly. 7 points is nothing.
No, he's saying the Patriots are bad.
Yeah, I'm taking the Dolphins -7.
Dolphins? See, I went the other way. Now, Jeff Adelson would know. Jeff Adelson, for those if you've Jeff Adelson appears on the lives here a lot. Jeff Adelson,
infield correspondent,
and we talk to him a lot off the air. We'll get him one day on the air. Jeff Adelson broadcasts. He's got a studio down there in South Florida.
Yeah,
he does
Miami.
He is all over the NFL. And the other day, he did a remarkable job covering the Kansas City Buffalo game. Jeff he
loves Kansas City.
He's part of the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
It's his team.
Yeah.
So he did.
Champ.
I give Jeff a lot of credit because what he did so well is when you have to be subjective, right? You can't let your homerisms or like your favorism. Jeff did a great job doing that. So if you don't tune in, check out the Jeff Adelson show down there from South Florida.
Speaking of homerisms,
yes.
I think as of last week, I always say I'm officially done with New York football. I think I am officially done with New York football this year, and I'm pretty sure I only went to 3 games. So unless something miraculous happens,
that's it.
I think we might. I don't want to. We don't want the results to.
We
come
need
out
to go
too
back.
Quickly.
I think I remember, but we can go back because I remember the episode we did it when we did the NFL preview, that Thursday before week 1. Yeah. We had the whole discussion over under with you for. I'm pretty sure I took. Yeah, it was 4.5. I knew what it was, but I think I took the under.
Wow, we got to.
I have to go back.
To hit the tape.
B-Rock will go back today and look.
Hit the tape.
Or I could go back. B-Rock's got enough to do. We got food reviews coming, so. And yes, Jeff Adelson agrees New York football is a disgrace.
Nothing good's coming out of MetLife this year.
Nothing.
Taylor Swift.
Giants, could you imagine? Could you imagine what that stadium? Because it's November 20th. I know the Jets are home against Miami at the end. I know they have a home game like Christmas week versus LA. Like that building is going to be just terrible.
Well, that's the rumor too. We have another client who's speculating that ticket sales are so bad. They're throwing in Tommy just to, because you get the hometown kid. Maybe you'll sell some more tickets.
So I told the story, and then we're gonna go. I told the story in back in the beginning in September. The Jets reached out to me. I think I told you guys what happened with me and the Jets.
Buy one ticket, get 5 free.
The Jets reached out to me over the summer to try and get me to buy tickets because years ago I had season tickets, but I never went. I never been to a game, but I had season tickets. So I think they probably were drumming up their old database like sales 101, right? Oh, these people bought before. Reach out to them. So they gave me free complimentary tickets to the Jets Giants preseason game this year, and we were in. I think it was called the Coaches Club. It was like section 249. It was nice. Sure. Where like you're out in your seats, but you have this whole private like indoor area with concessions. It wasn't free food or anything. It wasn't that nice. But my rep, who's a nice guy, look, he's a kid. This is what that job is. It's the same thing with like my reps at the Garden. They're like, you don't have 50-year-old reps. It's like entry-level job. So I met him at the game when we were there. And he had said to me, what will it take tonight for us to get you to close on a deal? Which was aggressive, but he's in sales and he's getting paid commission, right? And the score, if you go back and look at that game, I want to say it was like 3-3 in the third, or was like 6-3.
Score more points.
It was
That's
awful.
what I need.
And I was able to use an excuse that was a true reason. And my daughter, who plays on a club sports team, they play on Sundays. And at that time, I didn't have the schedule. So I said, look, I know when the Jets play at home, but I don't know when my daughter plays, so I can't commit. Well, by the time I got the schedule, it had already been a nightmare. The Jets were like, the stock had fallen, and I haven't heard back from the guy. So, yes, ticket sales are going to be bad there, for sure. That's it for us today. We thank you for tuning in as always. Thank you guys on the Instagram chat, YouTube chat. You guys have some great questions today. I try to get to as many as we can. We thank the Bamboozle Project for their sponsorship of the program as always. Go check out the bamboozleproject.com. Use promo code MYPB. If you like the hoodie, the Win It for Sam hoodie that you see today that I always get compliments on when I'm at the game, that is available there. And again, I can't stress enough, MYPB, it takes 20% off. They're not that expensive to begin with, by the way. Yeah. Plus, they come in different colors. You can get this in blue. You can get this in pink. I believe my wife has one in pink, I think. But you can get different colors out there.
Get it for Sam, so you can win it for Sam.
Get it for Sam, win it for Sam. West Coast road trip concludes 2 more. Home Monday night for St. Louis. We are back on next week, right before Thanksgiving. And I will tell you, we are probably doing a giveaway next week as well for the holidays. So thank you guys for tuning in. Sports Taxi on Instagram. Thank you for joining us. We are on and that you enjoyed it. I'm glad you enjoyed it your first time listening to us. We are on most Wednesdays. It's usually every Wednesday around 10 a.m. But you can follow.
We're officially making the jump.
Yeah, we've been Wednesdays since
I know.
It changed in our Instagram bio.
Wow.
There were a couple weeks you and I would converse like, are we doing Wednesday? But we don't even converse. It's Wednesday. But Sports Taxi.
You gotta get your TS-Ma afterwards.
I am. You can DM us during the week. We're on it all day, every day. We'll talk whatever you want to do. All the rest of you, have a great rest of your week. We will talk to you next week.